Over the past 3 years, I've managed nearly $90,000 in Facebook ad campaigns for fiction authors, plus another $24,000 of my own money learning what actually works. That kind of money teaches you things that you can't learn from courses or theory. And honestly, most of what I discovered surprised me. Years ago, I was a 911 ambulance dispatcher, and in that role, you learn to spot patterns fast when every decision matters. And the same principle applies here. When you're managing somebody else's marketing budget, patterns become crystal clear. So let me share what $90,000 worth of real campaigns actually teaches you about what works and what doesn't. The thing is, most book marketing advice comes from people who have never managed serious ad budget for fiction authors. They're teaching what sounds logical, not what the data actually shows. I've seen this firsthand. So authors come to me after spending months following advice that sounds smart, but it doesn't convert, it doesn't work. Beautiful websites that nobody buys from. Ad creatives that look amazing but actually confuse potential readers. Blurbs that describe everything except for why someone should actually read the book. So here's what I learned. It's not that these authors aren't smart or hardworking. They're just missing the patterns you only see when you're managing real money across multiple campaigns. So let me walk you through the 3 biggest lessons that actually surprised me the most. The first lesson is sending traffic to your website is usually a mistake. Now, this one surprised me too. Everyone talks about building your author platform, having a professional website, controlling the customer experience. It all sounds smart, but here's what the data actually shows. I once spent $3,000 of a client's budget driving traffic to her website instead of directly to Amazon. Now, the website was gorgeous, had book trailers, author bio, link to all the retailers, everything. The result was predictable once we understood the pattern, though. People clicked, they looked around, they got distracted, and they left. We were paying for clicks to a detour when we should have been paying for clicks to the actual buy button on Amazon. Amazon converts because people go there to buy books. They trust it. Your website converts visitors into people who might buy your book eventually, maybe, if they remember. Now, I'm not saying websites are useless, but when we're paying for traffic, we want to send it to somewhere where people are already in the buying mode. Second lesson is your ad creative needs to scream book from the first glance. Now, this one caught me off guard because I see authors spending serious money on what looks like movie marketing. So, epic fantasy covers that could be promoting, say, a video game, or romance covers that could be, or at least look like they're advertising a TV show. And this is what I discovered when someone clicks expecting a book and finds a book. They're already primed to buy. But when people click expecting something else, a movie, a game, whatever, and they find a book instead, that confusion kills conversions instantly. I started testing this across campaigns. So same budget, same targeting, but one ad clearly showed it was promoting a book, while the other could have been advertising anything. The obviously a book creative constantly outperformed the could be anything creative, sometimes by 40% or more. So the lesson for this is don't try to be clever with your ad creative. We want to be clear. So clarity beats cleverness. People need to know exactly what they're clicking on. And the third lesson, and this is a big one, your blurb isn't a book summary, it's a sales page. So every click we pay for lands on our Amazon page, and our blurb has one job: to make people feel like the book is for them. But most authors write blurbs that describe the plot of their book instead of creating that emotional connection. They treat it like a Wikipedia entry when it should function more like an advertising copy. So here's what I mean. Instead of, Sarah is a young woman who discovers she has magical powers, Try Sarah's quiet life shatters when fire erupts from her fingertips. The same information, but one makes you feel something. Now, the breakthrough came when I realized successful blurbs follow the same pattern. So it hooks the readers emotionally, it builds tension, shows them what's at stake, and then leaves them wanting more. Now, when authors get this right, their conversion rates jump, sometimes dramatically. Now, let me give you a real example of what this looks like in practice. So, Sarah Martinez, a contemporary romance author with a 3-book series, she came to me after spending over $1,800 over 3 months on Facebook ads with almost nothing to show for it. She was doing everything that sounds smart, like driving traffic to her website, using creative that looked professional, had what she thought was, a decent blurb. The problem was that she was converting at less than 0.5%, actually 0.4%. So for every 250 people who clicked her ad, maybe one person bought her book. She was paying $23 for each new reader on a book that was $3.99. The math just wasn't mathing. It just wasn't working. So we applied these 3 lessons. First, we ditched the website redirect and sent the traffic straight to Amazon. Second, we made her ad creative obviously about books, showing that image that people are clicking on a book. Third, we rewrote her blurb using emotional triggers instead of a plot description. And within 30 days, her cost per new reader dropped from $23 to $2.80. So she went from selling 12 books a month to 127. And the real exciting part is because she had a series, when you account for those juicy read-throughs from book 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, she was actually earning $6.27 for each new reader. And Amazon's algorithm noticed her conversion rate jump and started to show her book organically, and her ghost sales almost doubled. The thing is that this isn't theory. This is what happens when you stop guessing and start testing systematically. Now, most authors are working twice as hard as they need to be because they're following advice that sounds good but doesn't actually convert. They're optimizing for the wrong things. What $90,000 in managed campaigns teaches you is simple. Focus on what actually moves the needle to sell books, not what feels like marketing. Your book doesn't need to appeal to everyone. It needs to appeal intensely to someone. And when you know what that someone is, you can reach them for much less money than you think. I've seen authors start seeing some real traction with as little as $500 in the testing budget. Because once you know what works for your specific book, scaling becomes a math problem instead of a guessing game. Now, if this resonates with you, if you're tired of guessing what works and want to start with the biggest conversion factor, let me help you fix the blurb first. So you might remember what I said about blurbs being sales pages, sales copy, where we need to sell the book emotionally, not summaries or just plot descriptions. I've taken everything I've learned from managing $90,000 in ad spend and distilled it into the fiction blurb formula. So for $17, you get the complete system, including the 61 emotional trigger phrases I use in every profitable campaign. The same framework that took Sarah from $23 a new reader to $2.80 a new reader. And what it isn't is theory. This is a method that I use behind every campaign that I manage. Links in the description, grab it, apply it to your book, and watch what happens to your conversion rates. The thing is you don't need more effort. We need more leverage. And that starts with knowing exactly what works. I'll see you in the next video.